Joined by Dr. Amish Adalja. He is an infectious disease expert and senior scholar at the Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security at the Bloomberg School of Public Health. Doctor, great to have you on set with us. Good morning. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
Let's get started with just basics about what we should know about mosquitoes. What type of conditions, what time of day are they most active, and should we be thinking at that point we should put on that bug spray or cover ourselves?
So the first thing to know about mosquitoes is that they're the most dangerous animal, and they can spread many different infectious diseases that range from malaria to dengue to chikungunya to Zika to EEEE, which we'll talk about, in West Nile. So they have a whole host of pathogens. And there's different species, and different species bite at different times. Some are day biters, some are biters at dusk and dawn. So it depends upon which mosquito it is to tell you, what type of precautions you need to take and when you need to take them.
Here in America, what are the illnesses we should be most worried about right now? Does it change year to year?
It's always going to be West Nile. West Nile is the most common mosquito-borne infection that's spread in the United States. It's endemic to the 48 states. So this is something that every part of the world or the country has to deal with. Also, there are certain parts of the country where there are other types of viruses, like EEE in New England. There's St. Louis encephalitis. There's a whole host of them depending upon where you actually live.
What should we know about EEE? I think West Nile is one that maybe people have heard of a little bit more, but we just heard in that piece from Rahema that that's also a concern.
So EEE is pretty rare. There's only about a dozen cases that occur every year, usually concentrated in New England and the Gulf states. But what's interesting about this, or what's concerning about it, is that most of the people who get it have severe illness. About 30% of them die. That's why you see these types of precautions and recommendations going on in Plymouth, Massachusetts, because this is a pretty consequential virus. If you get it, there's no treatment. There are vaccines for horses, but not for humans. So this is one that people are really aggressive when it appears in a given area, but it's pretty rare. It's not something that's as common as West Nile, for example.
Mosquito bites are pretty common, but what are the symptoms people should be watching out for to know that there might be something going on? And what are the best things we can do to just prevent this from happening?
So the symptoms are going to overlap with many different illnesses, including COVID, fever, chills, muscle aches and pains, headaches. And then when it gets concerning, it's when you start to see confusion, seizures, people are just not acting the same. All of those things are signs that the infection has gone to the brain, which is the big danger with West Nile, with EEE. And what can you do to prevent it? It's hard because there's no vaccines. It's really about cleaning up your yard, cleaning up your community to make sure that there's not breeding sites for mosquitoes. And when you go to mosquito-laden areas, wearing repellent, wearing protective clothing, and trying to stay out of those places where we know that mosquitoes are present.
We know that in the summer, as Joe just mentioned, this is common. I was just saying in the break, I've got a bunch of mosquito bites from this past weekend. Is the best thing to do if you know you've got those bites, just keep an eye on yourself, and if you start to feel anything up?
Yes, not every bite is going to produce an infection. And it's important to know that you've had mosquito bites, especially if you do develop fevers, chills, headaches, and you talk to your doctor and say, I've got a lot of mosquito bites, I've been in the area where there's a lot of mosquitoes, could I have a mosquito-borne infection?
Dr. Amish Adalja, always great to see you, a really important talker, especially as summer winds down. Thanks for coming by.
Thanks.
Let's get to our weekly mental health check-in.